There's Chad from MineOperator. How you doing, dude?
Doing good. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you in person.
And
yeah.
Thank you for supporting us.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. It's my big pleasure. I spent an hour with Chad at MineOperator, and I was able to pick up some mine dumps. These are actual mine dumps, and in this video, I'm going to run them through the shaker table and analyze them for gold. And in the description, I've left a link to their video, so go take a look.
So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take a sample from these two bags. We had gone out there to that dump and filled it up. And since then it rained and it just compacted everything. So we're going to loosen it up, grab a sample from as much of this bag combined with this bag.
There's nothing better than just picking up gold from the ground, you know, don't
Absolutely. You know, they already got it out of the ground for us, so if we're able to make a little bit of money. You know, they had it tough. The history out in the district is, you know, not everybody could afford a mill. So they had to send it to a larger mill, and so they either had to wait, or if their grade wasn't high enough, they couldn't be ran. So sometimes their lower grade is on the surface, but it's high enough grade for us to run through our equipment.
Yeah, the price of gold goes up and down dramatically, so this is a great time to be a gold miner. How much material is in one of these bags?
500 to 600 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, per bag. These are...
So that's about a quarter of a metric ton per bag.
Yeah.
So to process this, you'd run it through your mill, and then you would run it through the shaker table?
Yeah, this would be... We like to do small batch runs on some of the material before we turn on all the equipment. You know, the power, both electricity, the water, the manpower you need. So you want to make sure you're running only the best stuff through the mill.
Absolutely.
That you can get.
So I picked up the dumps, which is now the ore, and I'm going to run it through my little homemade angle grinder. Nice to do this in the desert where I'm not bothering, you know, my neighbors. So 2.5 pounds took, I don't know, 3 minutes. And it's very fine. More than half of this will go through 60 mesh. So I'm going to put this back in the bag where it came from. Here's the Hollywood dump ore that I ground in the desert. I'm back in my garage. And I just weighed it up. It's 1.05 kilograms. So I'm going to take 500 grams of this and run it all the way through the process. I have the table set up with a 3-degree slope and level left to right. And that setting is kind of medium setting. It's not aggressive at all. I don't want to be aggressive with this. And I'll run the tailings through again anyway. Alright, this is the Hollywood mine dumps. 500 grams. I've got some jet dry in here and in the table, and I'm going to run it. This material is unclassified. It really should be classified before it goes on the table. But I'm going to run it this way. And then I'll probably classify the tailings and run it again. you can see what happens if you don't classify the material on the shaker table. This is very typical. The big stuff just walks over. I hope it's obvious in the video that you can see the dark, heavy material coming out. I assume that there's gold going out with that, but it's really hard to see when the table is shaking and if the gold is really fine. So that's what's left. Here's the gold under my little cell phone microscope. Really quite beautiful. And there's a sizable amount of it. It turns out I only ran 320 grams because of the mistake I made by not classifying it. And so I've combined the cons from the cons and the tailings. So this has everything that I can extract out of it. It's reacted for about 45 minutes. You can see it's deep brown, and that's why we have to clean it, because we've got to get rid of the contaminants. Now I'm going to put 5 milliliters of hydrochloric acid in there. Ten drops of nitric. Okay, 11 drops. So I just made aqua regia in the beaker, and we'll let that react for 1 hour. The material has been reacted with aqua regia that has dissolved all the gold. I'm going to kill the remaining nitric with urea. And it's 11 drops. It's the same amount of nitric I used. And you can see it fizzes a little bit, not too much. All right, so I got a little cotton into the funnel. Okay, in this tube I've got the test solution, and in here I've got hydrochloric and water, and this is going to be my standard solution. And now I'm going to add stannous chloride to both of those in equal amounts. Okay, we can see that there's gold in this solution. And of course, this is just water and hydrochloric, so there's no gold in there yet. And I'll stir this one too. So there's clearly gold from the dumps. In fact, the density is high enough, I'm going to have to use the dilution trick. So I'm going to take half out of here. And now bring this back up to the level I had before. And mix. Okay, I've got my standard test solution of gold. And I'll be careful to do this one drop at a time. So let's stir that. And that was one drop. Get a second drop. That's two drops. And that's three drops. Let's give that a moment to react. This is a little bit darker than that at the moment, but it'll get darker. Let's let it react for a minute. So they are of equal density. So let's do the calculation. Find out how much gold is in that ore. Okay, so what did we learn from the Hollywood dumps? I classified indirectly, wet classified 320 grams of number 40 minus ore after I ground it in the desert. I put it on the shaker table. I cleaned it up, you know, I snuffered it up and so forth, but then I cleaned it with HCl, hydrochloric acid. And this took a long time. There was some seriously nasty stuff. I had to go through 3 charges of HCl to get it clean. But anyway, we did. I dissolved it in aqua regia. Then I added stannous chloride to the aqua regia, but it was too dense to actually measure, to see through. So I diluted it by a factor of 2. And then I made a standard test solution of, hydrochloric acid, water, and stannous chloride. And I had to add 3 drops of the standard solution of gold that I have, which is 10 milligrams per milliliter. So I had 3 drops. There's 20 drops per millimeter per. So I had 3 drops. There's 20 drops per milliliter. There's 10 milligrams of gold per milliliter in my standard solution. I diluted it by a factor of 2. So if you do that little calculation, you get 3 milligrams of gold from 320 grams of ore. And that's an amazing 9 parts per million per metric, and that's 9 grams per metric ton, which is surprising for mine dumps. So, and that's great. So, wonderful. Good luck, guys, at MineOperator.